With only 42 days until the presidential election, there's a national push to get those of voting age registered. Hear why your vote counts coming up.
And the controversy in Rootstown, board members attempt to ease tensions following protests and resignations from administration.
And President Trump makes pit stops in both Toledo and Dayton. We have more on what he had to say to Ohio voters.
And news on Hurricane Beta, the tropical storm ravaging the Gulf Coast. That and your local weather report coming right up on TV2 News.
This is TV2 News.
Good Tuesday evening, Portage County, and thank you for joining us. Today is National Voter Registration Day, and we start off with everything you need to know. I'm Maddie Haberberger.
And I'm Rachel Gross.
Are you registered to vote? Well, today is the day to do so. As the countdown to November 3rd is on, voting organizations around the world are working for strong voter turnout.
Our Alexandria Manthe spoke with a local organization today on how to reach more voters. Hi, Alex.
Today is National Voter Registration Day. Organizations across the country are advocating to ensure that people are registered to vote ahead of the 2-week deadline. As of now, Ohio has 6,062,000 registered voters. The League of Women's Voters is just one of the local groups hoping to increase that number. I spoke with Cynthia Peoples, the communications director of the League of Women's Voters, about their efforts.
Taking that initiative to get that ballot into the ballot box will help build leadership and legislative representatives that will advocate for you and advocate for the things that are important to your household.
If you meet the qualifications to vote, in the United States there are multiple different options to register. There's an online option at ohio.sos.gov or even drive-up options at your local Board of Elections. Because of COVID-19, this year looks a bit different and can even be completely virtual.
One of the things that the League is pushing right now and several voter advocacy groups are these QR codes, which actually give you completely contactless voter registration.
If you are unsure of your registration, you can visit vote411.org to check your status. The last day for voter registration is October 5th. Reporting in the Franklin Hall studio, I'm Alexandria Manthe for TV2 News.
Thanks for that report, Alex. Kent State President Todd Daikin sent an email this afternoon taking a firmer stance on off-campus gatherings. He mentioned Portage County's red level 3 risk of contracted COVID-19, which means high risk and exposure to the virus.
President Daikin said the rise in cases relates to gatherings and parties off campus. He said students must stop these gatherings or face disciplinary action through the Student Code of Conduct.
That's right. The university is asking all students to limit their interactions with others and to report violators.
Those who have tested positive for COVID-19 and fail to quarantine as required will face the strongest disciplinary action. Officials say they will have zero tolerance policy and will enact more measures as needed.
Kent State University will recognize the accomplishments of the fall class of 2020 with a virtual commencement recognition ceremony this December. The virtual ceremony will include speeches from President Todd Daikin and Provost Melody Tankersley. Each graduate will receive name recognition and participate in the conferral of degrees and tassel turning ceremony. An in-person commencement is still set to take place when it's deemed safe to do so.
The man who stalked Kent State sorority houses last fall will not serve jail time and may not even face criminal charges. Porch prowler Stephen Fransberg and his attorney cite mental health issues that led to his arrest, including obsessive-compulsive personality disorder and anxiety. Judge Becky Doherty sentenced Fransberg to more therapy, saying that he needs the psychological help more than jail. Doherty also says that if he completes the required counseling with no other incidents, his felony charges may be dismissed.
Kent police are still looking for a man involved in threatening 2 women near campus on Friday. 21-year-old Luke J. McIntosh is a black male with short hair, a tattoo of a rifle on his left cheek, and the word Louis across his neck. Police have not released any further information because it is still an open investigation. If you have any information on his whereabouts, please contact Kent Police at the number at the bottom of your screen. And officers in Akron found a man who had been wounded in a shooting after pulling him over for speeding. Police say the man drove past officers at a high speed near the 1300 block of South Arlington Street at 3 a.m. on Saturday. They stopped the car to find a 26-year-old driver who had been shot in the leg. The man told police he was in his car when shots were fired at nearby Key Place. Police are continuing to investigate the incident.
20-year-old Christopher Longhart faces several charges in court today after causing the death of an 18-year-old in a crash in August. Longhart was traveling on Route 8 when he swerved to avoid tire debris from an earlier tanker truck accident. He swerved directly into Jared Markham's vehicle, sending Markham into the tanker truck, which then caught fire. Longhart is set to be arraigned today, the final outcome still unknown. And today we saw nice weather for voter registration day, but what is in store for the rest of the week?
Let's check in with our weatherman, Dan Snyder. Dan, what's our drive home going to look like?
Well, looks like you'll have clear skies continuing on into the night here for us in Portage County. As we can see, the current conditions in Kent are 68 degrees and it feels like 71 because of that sun keeping you warm. Dew point at 47 with a nice cool breeze coming in from the northwest at only 2 miles per hour, nice and gentle. Visibility at 4 miles. Take it home all the way. As you can see, for the rest of northeastern Ohio, 73 in Sandusky, moving into 70 in Cleveland, feeling some of the breeze from the lake coming in, 68 in Ashtabula, 69 in Worcester, 71 in Mansfield, 71 in Canton, 69 in Youngstown, and 68 right here in Kent. As for tonight, you can see our conditions will continue with clear skies into the night, 50 degrees for a low. That's dropping pretty low if you ask me. Clear skies all the way until sunrise at 7:14 a.m. and you could watch our sunset in the beautiful clear skies at 7:21 p.m. Winds coming in at 7 miles per hour. That's your weather for now. Be sure to stick around for sports, news, and your 7-day forecast coming right up here after the break on TV2.
Thanks, Dan. President Donald Trump was in Toledo last night on his latest stop in Ohio. The crowd of his supporters were almost totally maskless and booed the mere mention of masks and Ohio Governor Mike DeWine. And despite the claims of scientists and medical experts, Trump is still saying that COVID-19, quote, affects virtually nobody. It's an amazing thing. The president also spoke about replacing the late Ruth Bader Ginsburg on the Supreme Court. Take a look.
They want to impeach me again if I nominate somebody as I'm constitutionally obligated to do, to serve on the Supreme Court of the United States. Go ahead, and I want them to do that. I want them to do that. We will. We will.
At the campaign stop, Trump also praised the high school football players who got suspended for a Blue Lives Matter demonstration at a football game. The students carried thin blue line and thin red line flags onto the field before their game, even after school officials told them not to. Trump called the players up on stage and said, quote, everybody out here loves you and appreciates you. The president's next campaign stop is at the Pittsburgh International Airport in Pennsylvania tonight.
Citizens of Rootstown gathered last night amid town-wide controversy. Find out what the community had to say coming up.
President Trump has a new frontrunner for the Supreme Court appointee. Find out who it is and when he'll make the official announcement when we come back.
Every day across America, excess food is gathered by a network of good people at local food banks, giving hope to millions of children who struggle with hunger. They've earned their wings, and you can too. Together, we can solve child hunger. Support Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
Welcome back. Last night, Rootstown community members gathered to voice their concerns amid the resignation of Rootstown High School's football coach, Troy Spiker. Spiker had accused a football player of using racial slurs against another player and ultimately suspended that individual.
But later, the school superintendent and board overturned the coach's decision, causing Spiker's resignation. A frustrated community speaks out about the board and superintendent's actions.
And I think finally, with enough pressure that's built up in the system, you kind of, you tweak the valve, so to speak, and you got a guide it.
Also in last night's meeting, the board accepted the resignation of two board members, Scott Krieger and Steve Vassbinder.
The board has hired a third-party investigative service to determine if the school's actions after the situation were appropriate. Here's what the Rootstown Board of Education President Amanda Weish had to say on the investigation.
We got to figure out what the facts are and what happened. And there's no one on this stage that can credibly state to a reasonable degree of certainty what the facts are.
The African American Football Coaches Association added its objection with a letter to Superintendent Andrew Hawkins expressing concerns for the students targeted by the racial slurs.
And there's currently a meeting with the local NAACP chapter that TV2 is covering right now. It's discussing how Rootstown as a community can learn and move forward. Check in with TV2 tomorrow for more on this matter.
Clevelanders who work from home are saving an average of 4.1 hours per week for not commuting during the coronavirus pandemic. The study performed by car buying website Copilot analyzed data from the Census Bureau. It found that remote workers nationwide are saving about 10% of their week. Cleveland was ranked 29th among U.S. cities in hours gained back.
The House passed a law banning discrimination based on hairstyles traditionally worn by African Americans. The Create a Respectful and Open World for Natural Hair, or CROWN Act, passed on a non-controversial voice vote on Monday. Hairstyles addressed by this bill include hairstyles in which the hair is tightly coiled or tightly curled, locks, cornrows, twists, braids, bantu knots, and afros.
The Northeast Ohio SPCA will open its doors to 30 rescue cats left homeless after Hurricane Sally devastated Alabama. After the storm destroyed the clinic in Foley, Alabama, the Safe Harbor Animal Coalition contacted the SPCA to provide a haven for the animals. The cats arrived at the no-kill shelter today and will be checked by vets before becoming available for adoption later this week.
Tropical storm Beta has made landfall in Texas. The National Hurricane Center says it landed near the southern end of Mogadora Peninsula with sustained winds of about 45 miles per hour on Monday night. Parts of Texas and Louisiana are under tropical storm warnings, and the main threats being storm surges and heavy rainfall. Beta is the 23rd named storm this hurricane season. There's been so many that the National Hurricane Center ran out of names and started using letters from the Greek alphabet. 2020 isn't over, so please send your thoughts and prayers, and always remember that those in need may use your help. Looking for the weather up here, though, it will be quite different. We will see clear skies all throughout the night from 8 p.m. As you can see, temperature dropping down to 66, 10, 57. It will be clear and cooler. And as for midnight, for all you stargazers in the late night, midnight, 52 degrees. Put on a coat, enjoy the stars. It's going to be a clear sky. As for your 7-day forecast, as you can see today, it is 50 with a high of 72. Warm and sunny tomorrow. Can't ask for anything better with 78 for a high. Oh man, it almost feels like summer weather. 58 for a low. As we move further into the week, 78 degrees. The clouds start rolling in the AM. Hopefully they clear up in the PM. 56 for a low on Thursday. Friday, getting out of work when you want to kick off your weekend, get ready for a nice warm one. It's going to be 81 for a high, 57 for a low, while it will still be mostly cloudy and humid. Saturday, you will see clouds, 80 for a high. Sunday, though, we will feel the effects of the storms being pushed in through fronts, 75 for a high with pop-up storms throughout the day. Sunday, 75, mostly cloudy, and that is your weather forecast for now. Be sure to register to vote and stay healthy, Portage County. Back to Maddie.
Thanks, Dan. The university released its weekly coronavirus numbers today. Within the last week, 25 new cases of COVID-19 have been confirmed at the Kent campus. This again comes after Portage County was designated at a red level 3 health alert. Governor Mike DeWine pointed to off-campus gatherings and Greek life as the source of the rise. This brings the university's total cases to 94 since July.
Portage County has recorded a total of 1,094 coronavirus cases and 66 deaths. Ohio as a whole has around 146,000 cases and 4,635 deaths. Ohio ranks 14th in the nation for total number of COVID cases, among a list that sees California and Texas in the top 2 spots.
Summit County officials say a COVID-19 vaccine could be distributed to residents within hours of when the Public Health Office receives its first dose. Announcements by pharmaceutical companies testing several options for a vaccine have public health officials preparing to distribute vaccines on a larger scale. According to the Summit County office, plans are being put in place to distribute the vaccine to the community. And a new frontrunner has emerged as President Trump's choice to replace the late Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Judge Amy Coney Barrett currently sits on the U.S. Court of Appeals' 7th Circuit in Chicago and is known for her conservative writings on faith in the law. While sources say Coney Barrett is favored for the pick, it's expected that the president will announce the official nominee on Saturday at the White House.
Clinch a playoff spot as early as tonight. I'll let you know how they did last night and what they need to do to clinch next in sports.
And fall has arrived, which means Halloween is just around the corner. Here are the CDC's recommendations for how to celebrate when TV2 returns in just 90 seconds.
Need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
The inherent right to work is one of the elemental privileges of a free people. Endowed, as our nation is, with abundant physical resources, and inspired as it should be, with the high purpose to make those resources and opportunities available for the enjoyment of all. We approach this problem of reemployment with the real hope of finding a better answer than we have now.
Thanks for sticking with us. One of the world's largest makers of coal-fired plants is getting out of the coal business. Struggling General Electric announced that it won't be building any new coal-fueled power plants. This move could potentially lead to asset sales, site closures, and layoffs. It's a major reversal for GE, which acquired a coal-fueled turbine company just 5 years ago. But since then, there's been a shift towards solar, wind, and renewable energy. GE has also been under pressure from investors to cut back on its fossil fuel investments. The company says it will continue to service existing coal power plants and build turbines for nuclear power plants.
Around the country, several Bed Bath & Beyond employees will lose their jobs by the end of the year. 63 stores are set to close as part of a restructuring because of COVID-19. Already in July, the company said it would be closing about 200 stores over 2 years. And last month, it announced 2,800 jobs would be eliminated to try to tighten up finances. 4 Ohio stores will be closing, but fortunately, the one in Stowe is not one of them.
And now, your TV2 Sports Report.
Hello, Kent State and all of Portage County. I'm Jack Burney with your sports report. The Kent Roosevelt Rough Riders returned to the practice field today after 14 days of being sidelined after one of their players tested positive for COVID-19. This Saturday will be Kent Roosevelt's season debut as they travel to Copley. The game was moved from Friday to Saturday to give the Rough Riders one more day of preparation. And the Mid-American Conference is expected to make a decision this week about the reinstatement of the fall football season. Central Michigan President Bob Davies said in a conference call last night that time is of the essence for the conference and that a decision should come by next Monday. MAC presidents met Saturday but did not come to a decision, and they're expected to meet again this week to decide the fate of the season. Kent State is coming off a record-setting season in which they won 7 games and the first bowl game in school history. Kent State quarterback Dustin Crum was on several preseason award watch lists, and if the Flashes do see the field this fall, Crum could raise his stock for the NFL draft. And the Indians were looking to move one step closer to clinching a postseason berth last night in a potential playoff preview against the White Sox. And we start in the first inning, a guy who's been on absolute fire for the Indians, Jose Ramirez. He's going to take this 3-1 pitch and crush it to deep right. That is going to be out of here for a 3-pointer, 3-run homer. The Indians take a 3-0 lead on Ramirez's 16th homer this season, but the White Sox are in first place for a reason. Savali throws it. Eloy Jimenez deposits it over the center field wall for the game-tying home run. White Sox tied at 4, but the Indians would respond. Carlos Santana swung on, hit high. That ball is not coming back. That is way out of here. The Indians take a 6-4 lead. Brad Hand, quietly having one of the best seasons, leads the league in saves, and he adds 14th save right there as he strikes out Abreu on the curveball. Indians win 7-4. If they win tonight against the White Sox or the Mariners lose, they will officially clinch a spot in this year's playoffs. And that's all I have for sports. Thank you so much for tuning in. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Jack. 200,000 deaths from COVID-19. The U.S. passed the grim milestone today. The U.S. reached 150,000 deaths on July 28th, meaning it took just 55 days to surpass 200,000. This comes as health experts now warn of a fall surge of COVID-19 appears to have begun. The number of new daily confirmed cases in the U.S. has jumped more than 15% in the past 10 days, the sharpest increase since the late spring. And unlike the earlier summer surge in the U.S., this spike coincides with the rising number of cases in other affluent countries like Canada and much of Europe. Experts attribute a fall surge to students returning to school and the colder weather.
And with Halloween just around the corner, the CDC has rolled out some new guidance warning against door-to-door trick-or-treating. They recommend that the public avoids traditional Halloween activities like indoor costume parties or festivals with people outside of your household or community. Instead, they recommend individual activities like carving pumpkins or virtual costume contests. But you're going to have to do a little hunting if you want to go to a haunted house this spooky season. The Ghoul Brothers Haunted House in Coventry Township and the Carnival of Horrors at Blossom Music Center have both announced that they won't be open this fall amid the coronavirus pandemic. For those of you who want to get their scare on, though, you can still have a chance. The Forest of Screams in Medina and the Forest of Fear Scream Park in Alliance both open this weekend.
We've hit a grim milestone in the coronavirus pandemic, 200,000 deaths in the United States, as the CDC creates confusion over what to tell Americans about how the disease can travel through the air. Camila Bernal has the latest.
The CDC Monday abruptly deleting new guidance on airborne transmission of coronavirus, saying it was posted in error. A federal official familiar with the situation says it was posted by mistake. It wasn't ready to be posted. Somebody hit the button and shouldn't have. The abrupt action sparking speculation as to why the reversal happened.
The fact that they retracted this, even though this is common scientific knowledge at this point, one has to wonder what's behind it. Was there political pressure, political interference that's driving this rather than science?
This as Health and Human Services announces the FDA and the CDC now have to run everything through them. Meanwhile, the U.S. is facing 40,000 cases on average per day, and more than half of the country is now seeing an uptick in cases.
We may be in for a very apocalyptic fall, I'm sorry to say.
California now passing a grim benchmark. 15,000 deaths and creeping up on surpassing 800,000 confirmed cases.
The heat wave, the wildfires, air quality were impacting our total testing availability in this state. We're starting to see those numbers go back up now, just shy of 124,000 tests, average number of daily tests over the last 7 days.
I'm Camila Bernal reporting.
As if you need to spend more time on your phone, we'll give you a look at this year's new emojis. TV2 will be back in 90 seconds.
And just in case you missed the 7-day recap, we will fill you in coming up right after the break.
Get strawberries?
Okay.
It's a big responsibility.
Oh, it's huge. I know, it's huge.
And the salary.
Oh my god, yes. I mean,
Right?
like, I was about to move in with my parents, and right before, yeah, so this saved me.
I really believe in you, you know?
Thank you. It's nice to hear that from someone.
These are cool. Did you, what did
Welcome back. Kent State is being recognized for the 9th time as a great college to work for by the Chronicle of Higher Education. The report recognizes colleges that get top ratings from their employees and based on workforce practices and policies. In the 2020 survey results, Kent State was recognized in 3 categories: confidence in senior leadership, facilities, workspace and security, and work and life balance. Now, for universities with more than 10,000 students, this is the first time Kent State has been recognized in 3 categories.
Get ready for some new emojis. The Unicode Consortium announced it is releasing more than 200 animated figures, including a bandaged heart and a heart surrounded by flames. There are also 3 variations of a gender-neutral character. The nonprofit said it didn't plan to release new emojis in 2021 due to the pandemic. The updated emojis are expected to be available for your cell phone sometime between January and October of next year.
NASA unveiled plans today to send the first woman to the moon by 2024. If successful, the $28 billion Artemis program would mark the first time humans have landed on the moon since 1972. 1 man and 1 woman will spend about a week on the lunar surface, collecting samples, conducting experiments, and searching for resources. If the plan gets bipartisan support from Congress, Artemis should have an unmanned mission tested by the end of next year. I don't know about you, Rachel, but that gets me excited. I'm a huge nerd in general, but especially when it comes to space. I love to look at what NASA's up to. It's been since 1972 since we've had people on the moon. We've tried in the past, limited success, but I think we need a victory, so.
Is it one of your goals to go on the moon one day?
Honestly, I'm not claustrophobic. Like, I know how to swim, all that stuff, like all the stuff you need to do to be an astronaut. I think I might have a shot. I'll have to look and see how you can sign up.
And with those new emojis coming out, maybe they'll have some like more space-themed emojis. Because
Naughty
I think we're really
astronaut emoji.
lacking in those space emojis
They get so
right now.
specific with those emojis. Like, when are they going to stop? It's going to be like person with 1 foot out and 1 arm. Like, they get so specific. But I'm excited to see the flaming heart emoji, little broken heart emoji. They get fun. They get cute.
Exactly. And speaking of space, I heard we're going to have clear skies to see those stars later
I
tonight.
hope so, Dan. I got to get inspired. What's it going to look like tonight?
Well, luckily for everybody, there will be clear skies throughout tonight as well as tomorrow night. Welcome back to your 7-day forecast. For those tuning in late, here's how you plan your day around your week. 78 for a high and 57 for a low on Wednesday. Thursday, you could see 78 as the temperature starts to go back up. Some clouds starting to creep back in, unfortunately, but it will only be cloudy in the AM. Skies clearing up in the PM. 81 for a high on Friday. 57 for a low. It will be mostly cloudy throughout the day from the storm front pushing in from the south. 80 for a high on Saturday, but it will be humid and cloudy. 65 for a low. Sunday, that's when you're going to see a lot of storms start to pop up all over across Ohio. 75 for a high, 54 for a low. A little bit warmer than it was last weekend. It was a little chilly. 75 for a high on Monday to start out your week. 53 for a low for all you stargazers. Well, I suggest taking it to tonight. TV2 News, have a good one.
Thanks, Dan. Now that's all we have for tonight's edition of TV2 News. Thank you for joining us. As always, give us a follow on Twitter at TV2KSU.
And be sure to check with KentWire.com for the latest updates and breaking news. I'm Rachel Gross.
And I'm Maddie Haberberger. Have a great night, Portage County, and we'll see you back here tomorrow at 6.
I was living in a shelter, juggling 3 jobs. I had to be resilient. That's something that you can't teach.
Put the keys down, Kevin.
But I'm gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
My text to emoji ratio has gotten a little out of hand.
A little?
Yep, I'm definitely gonna call a ride home.
Hamilton was adopted from a rescue in 2008.
He's quite the pug about town. He gets invited to a lot of parties.
He knows he's a pretty big deal. How did you not love him?
It's a big responsibility.
Oh, it's huge. I know, it's huge.
And the salary.
Oh my god, yes. I mean,
Right?
like, I was about to move in with my parents, and right before, so this saved me.
I really believe in you, you know?
Thank you. It's nice to hear that from someone.
These are cool. Did you, what did